Have you noticed that increase in interest when it comes to herbalism and herbal medicine? Well, I have, and it's been booming ever since COVID. I don't want to say it on this channel because I want to keep it clean, man. No violations. Probably not going to happen. But that has been a huge talk since that time. I want to tell you why. I want to tell you about the deep roots in you where you are already an herbalist. Everybody is an herbalist. They just don't know it. So people are waking up to it at a very, very rapid pace. And yes, not everybody wants to be an herbalist. Maybe for others and for a business or even a hobby, but they are innate herbalists. Let me show you. I'm excited for today's video, guys. If you are as well and you are interested in the topic of herbalism, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments whether you are new to it, you have always been using it but never really saw it as a way to make money for it or a business from it. Then let me know in the comments, okay? Now, herbalism is a big topic, okay? Herbalism is all around us. It's, animals are herbalists, plants are herbalists, the original herbalists, okay? Herbalism is simply I like to say the science and the art of medicine, of natural medicine, medicine from the earth, okay? And we all know when a cat or a dog or some type of animal gets hurt, they usually fast, they eat a bunch of greens, maybe some grass outside or whatever greens that they find, and they heal themselves. And they understand herbal medicine, not like me and you do, but we all have our own versions of herbal medicine. And that's what I love about herbalism is because it's so versatile, okay? And perfect examples for that is when you do start learning more about herbalism and you do start seeing different herbalists and their formulas that they share and the knowledge they share on the type of herbs that they use, it's always going to be something different. And that's one of my favorite things about it. It's very, very versatile. So one herb can be used for 100 different things across 100 different cultures all across the world. And it's beautiful because this art, it never stops growing, There will always be a new way to use an herb. There will always be a new way to prepare an herb. There's so many different ways to prepare herbs and ingest herbs and apply herbs topically, and so many different things that you can do with herbal medicine. And that is why I am just in love with it. And in today's video, I hope that I can bring you a little piece of that love and show you why I love it so much, and hopefully, grow your love for herbalism. Now, my story in herbalism comes when I met the Queen. Really, it came, unconsciously, it came when I was a child. I grew up always going back to Puerto Rico with my mom for our summers and stuff. And so my family, that part of the family, they lived outdoors. They live, in the mountains, in the farms, and, just the outdoors like that. And so I got exposed to it very, very early in my life. And that, like I said, it was unconscious. It was just what was around me, my surroundings, my settings. So, I became familiar with it that way. Consciously, meaning I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm looking at. I choose to do it on my own accord. It was when I met the Queen, my Queen now. She introduced me to herbs. I had a upset stomach, and I hit her up, and I was like, "Yo, I feel like this," and she told me to go grab some mint tea. And I was like, okay. I went to the store, grabbed this blend called Moroccan mint tea, which I didn't know was a blend. I thought it was just a mint from Morocco. And I put it, I made it, consumed it, and I became obsessed with it. The flavor was so good to me. And I drank way too much of it back in the day, but unconsciously, but I actually needed it, knowing what I know now. Because Moroccan mint is a stimulant, because it does have some caffeine in there. I was so depleted at that time that I needed that stimulant, and that's why it gave me such a euphoric feeling. Man, that was my introduction to herbs, in general. Now, herbs for a deeper healing of the body and herbs for specific organs and the things that I know now, that came from my time in the hospital. That came from the time where I was admitted to the hospital with a cyst the size of a water bottle. That is what the surgeon said, which is still crazy to me. I wish they would have gave it to me. Weird, I know. But the cysts was causing me lots of pain after ignoring it for many, many years. I want to say about 4 years I've ignored this cyst growing within me. And it finally backfired, and it forced me into the ER. I got into the ER extremely pale from all this pain, passed out right there when they were admitting me. And, it was kind of in and out, and I wake up and I'm kind of like in a bed. So it was kind of one of those things going on. And I remember that time I was in the hospital. I'll never forget this because it was really what set me straight. As a child, I was one of those that, you could scare me straight. You know what I mean? So like all these shows and stuff, Scared Straight and stuff like that. Yeah, if I was on that, I'm going to Harvard. You know what I mean? So I was scared straight because I knew that it was a universal symbol, a universal sign for me to change the route that I was on. I was extremely angry. I was extremely irritable. I was extremely acidic in my body, in my thoughts, in my diet, in my lifestyle, period. So it reflected on that in my body and in my outer world, okay? So much so that it led me to this moment where I'm in the bed, the queen is next to me, I'm screaming for pain meds and I've never screamed for meds. I've never taken meds ever, and I'm 21 at this point, 22, and I'm screaming for meds. I get them. I'm able to calm down a little bit, still in pain, and I'm just clenching my wife. And right beside us was another bed of a couple. They were a lot older of a couple. You can hear it in their voice. The room was just separated by these curtains because it was kind of like a temporary setup before you get into your permanent, big room where people can visit you and stuff. And the doctor comes in, and all you really hear is, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, sir. You do have cancer." And the scream that the woman let out, it was, I still get goosebumps to this day. The scream that she let out was almost like a movie, a scary movie. It was like almost like fake. Like, no way, somebody pushed the button. It was so just full of pain and agony. And I'm right next to them. And a lot of the doctors are saying, "We don't know what it is." For my thing, we don't know what it is. We don't know if it's cancerous. We don't know if it's tumor. We don't know if it's this, that, and the third. So obviously my mind is just going crazy with all types of guests, all type of opinions and stuff about what's going on with me. And then I get this sign like, "Yo, it's cancer. This is the pain that's going to come to you." You know what I mean? And so that was the moment that kind of scared me straight. And so found out it was a tumor, all that type of stuff. And I was in the hospital bed for weeks because it took them a while for them to figure out what exactly it was and how to go about either removing it or maneuvering it or something. So during that time, I was on the hospital bed and I just started looking up everything natural. I was by myself, didn't have family visit me. I was in a new state, in a new city. Only got a visitor once or twice a week, which ended up being the queen. So during that time of the 2.5 weeks I was in the hospital, I had a lot of time to myself. And this is where I spent time finding anything natural, any natural solution. Pain, cysts, I would just look up anything. And during that time, I found a couple of what I would consider mentors online. And it's beautiful that I turned into one, or I stepped into that position of being this herbal or healer mentor to a lot of other people, because that was my journey. I was desperate for a solution. I was in constant pain. And during my search, I stumbled upon a couple of teachers, Dr. Sabi being the first one, who really, even though I don't teach his teachings, a lot of the energy was right. The energy was there. I trusted him. I trusted this beautiful black man who said he healed this, healed that. Plants do this and plants do that, and the fruits and the herb and the natural, right? I believed it all. I felt it all. I knew it all. I knew what that he was saying was truth. I knew it. I felt it in my bones. I didn't just believe. I knew. Okay, it's a different level. Okay, I had this knowing. And so when I got exposed to that, I was changing my diet as I was there in the hospital. Every single day they came with a menu asking me what I wanted, and I would point to the fruit. Give me the fruit. Every single day I'm eating just fruit for a majority of the day. Might have a cooked meal here and there because, I still have my diet tendencies, I guess you can say, my cravings and stuff like that. But that's when I started to adopt that mindset that the natural healed, okay, and the unnatural destroyed. So once I started adopting that mindset, my life was changed forever because, the curiosity in me was sparked, and that flame just kept going and kept going. And for something like that where I could experience the effects on a day-to-day basis, it was, I didn't really need any convincing, because I felt it in my body very, very rapidly. So I decided to dive deep into the herbs because it became, like I said, I just became so curious about it. It was so interesting to me that things that I've always seen growing up, or things that I walked by, or things that we grew in school, as kids, things that our parents use on a day-to-day basis, especially being me, Boricua, Caribbean. We use so many plants on a day-to-day basis, and we take them for advantage. We don't realize the medicinal properties of them. And I became so passionate about that because it was like, what? This thing that my mom grew can heal this, that, and a third, can do this to the body, has this type of action in the body, or that thing that I just walked past, that does this. Like, it was so interesting to me that everything around us served a medicinal or a practical use. And so I just went all in on it. I started picking up all the books that I could. Because like I said, herbalism is very versatile. Okay, so the first tip that I have for you is pick up all of the books that you can that pique your interests, that maybe specialize in the region that you are in. One of my favorite books right now that I'm reading is medicinal, I think it's called like Medicinal Plants of the West or something like that. And this guy who lives on the West Coast, as I do, went through and made almost like an encyclopedia, almost like a Bible, of all of the most common herbs in his area. And based off of his research, based off of his usage, based off of traditional usage of the original peoples, he kind of compiled this Bible for these plants. And so there's so many gems out there like that. So pick up all of the books that you can. I listened to all the podcasts that I could find. I watched all the YouTube videos that I could. If it was somebody like me, I would have found them and been watching and really just staying on their videos day and night. Okay, that was me because I was so interested in it. And so much of this information is available due to the internet and Wi-Fi and phones and computers and things like this, YouTube and stuff like that. There's so much information out there that it was very easy for me to find it and very easy for me to binge watch and binge read all of these different things. Because not only is it available, but I'm also very interested in it. It's so fun for me. There you go. So I would highly recommend grabbing all of the resources that are out there. Find the people that you have a knowing, a trust with. Okay, that's very important because you want to find your people. Find the people that you can sit there and listen to them all day. like their voice or their accent or their language or whatever it is, like you can just, their spirit, their energy that they give off in the video, you can listen to all day. And I found those, it's funny because I made a joke back then where all of my teachers pretty much were all Caribbean and none of them spoke good English. It was always this broken English and, you know, Spanglish and stuff. So that right there, I don't know what it was about the Spanglish or the broken English and the Caribbean accents that made me feel comfortable. I understood more than if somebody was to be speaking super proper English and super proper herbal language. Okay, I understood it more and I resonated with it more by finding people who didn't speak the greatest of English. And so that was my thing, you know, find your thing. Find those people where, you know, you feel comfortable with and you wouldn't mind attending something in person, or you wouldn't mind buying one of their products or one of their books or one of their something. You know what I mean? You wouldn't mind sharing their videos. Find those people for you, okay? Because they're going to teach you a lot. And herbalism is simply knowledge passed down generation to generation throughout the world. That's what true herbalism is. It's really just knowledge passed down by generation by generation. It's not necessarily this new age science or anything like that. All the herbs that you know of, all the different types of herbal medicines, like the Chinese and the African and the Caribbean and the Western and all these different types of things, they're all from ancient knowledge. That's one of the coolest things about herbalism as well. They're all just ancient knowledge passed down. So find an elder, find a mentor, find, you know, old knowledge. Okay, don't necessarily try to reinvent the wheel. Okay, when you are first starting out, learn from mentors. And then after learning what you learn and you go on your journey and you apply it to yourself and then you apply it to different people and you do different things, you start to form your own style of doing it. Then that's when the creativity comes in. Okay? But that's one of my best tips for up and coming herbalists. Go find a mentor. Go find somebody who's already put in the 10,000 hours and learn from them. And then you put in 10,000 hours and learn yourself. And then you can teach your 10,000 hours to somebody else. And that is how it keeps going from generation to generation. Each one, teach one is a philosophy that I live by when it comes to herbal medicine. Each one, teach one. Okay, guys? You know, when it comes to the herbs, I want you guys to know that it's better to know a few herbs than to know a lot of herbs. It's better to go a mile deep and know just a few bit of herbs, but know a lot about them and really master the herb, than it is to know about a lot of herbs, but haven't really mastered or utilized most of them. You know, it's better to go a mile deep than it is to go a mile wide. And so that's one of my tips today is learn from personal experience. Learn by utilizing the herb yourself and do it with a few herbs at a time. Don't overexpose yourself to different herbs, because in reality, you only need about 20 to 30 herbs, maybe even less. But for me, I utilize about 20 to 30 herbs to cure and to heal almost anything, to be very honest with you. So don't make the mistake in thinking that being an herbalist means you have to know everything about every herb. You do not. You just need to know and master a good amount of herbs that you need to heal the body from head to toe. Master those. Okay? And then you can teach that mastery to someone else. But that's going to be the easiest way to do it. And not even easiest, I just feel like it's the most natural way to do it. You know? Finding what you're exposed to already around you. Because a lot of the times people don't realize that medicine is growing all around them. Medicine is growing all around you. You just need to slow down and study it. Slow down and find someone who studied it. Slow down and find the original peoples of the land who studied it forever. You know, you don't have to go and learn everything about every single herb. Still to this day, people come, and I've been an herbalist for 5 years now. Still to this day, people are coming to me like, hey, what does this herb do? And I'm like, I don't know. I know about the herb. I've heard of the herb. I've seen the herb's name. I know people who use it, but I don't know. I've never used it before. There's no need for me to do that. I have X, Y, and Z. I have this herb, and this herb who does those actions for me. So I don't need to utilize that herb. Okay, so if you are, if this is your introduction to herbalism, understand this. You don't need to know everything about everything. Okay? Specialize in the herbs that you specialize in, that you master. Okay? And speak from experience from those. But just take a couple herbs at a time. Okay, smell it. Build a relationship with it. I tell my students this. Build a relationship with your herbs. I should be able to close your eyes and bring a herb to you, and based off of the smell, based off of the touch, based off of the taste, you should know exactly what herb that is. And that is building a relationship with the plants. That is mastering the plants. By consuming it and feeling it, you should know what herb that is or what action it has on the body. So this is what I mean by mastering the herbs. And that only comes through experience. That only comes from consuming it from time to time and consuming it often. And being intentional when consuming it, and really studying your body and everything when consuming it. Okay, that is my tip for you. Master a few herbs instead of being, a little skilled or a little knowledgeable in a bunch of herbs. Okay? If you guys enjoy these tips, if you guys enjoyed this video, I'm going to end it here. I kind of want to make this a series. I do want to make it a series. But this is just the introduction of herbs, my story with herbalism, a couple tips and tricks when it comes to becoming an herbalist. And down the line, I'm going to do more and more videos, breaking down different aspects of herbalism, teaching more in-depth classes. We do so over in our academy. We're going to be doing in-person lectures here in Long Beach, California. So a lot of things to come this year. I'm super excited to stay tuned into all that. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You can sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get all the information that way.